Hey, what's going on? This is Clay Squires from Santa Lucia's High School, U.S. history teacher. I'm back again. All right, so the last benchmark that we're going to look at is this one right here, the SS 912A 2.7, Review the Native American Experience. It seems like a very simple benchmark where you can just explain that there were Indian reservations and that's it. But sometimes it gets a little bit more complex. So let's take a look at it real quick. All right, so review the Native American experience. One big thing that they like to talk about on tests is the idea of the Americanization of Native Americans, trying to turn them into something that they truly aren't. So one thing is the Dawes Act. Back in the 1800s, mid-1800s, they gave Native Americans 160 acres of land in an attempt to turn them into farmers. Now, if you remember, farmers, they weren't really farmers. Native Americans were more of hunter-gatherers than just farmers. And if they abided by the Dawes Act, what they would do is they would grant them citizenship and the right to vote. Okay. And here, right here, this picture, we can see that here's a Native American. He's wearing Americanized clothes. In the background, he's doing something on a farm with some hay, sod. And so this is a visual representation of what we're talking about when we say Americanization. Okay, also, if we look at this picture on the right, we can see that each child is praying, and we can only assume that in these pictures they're probably teaching these Native Americans Christian values. That goes against everything that they believe in, but they're trying to indoctrinate them or teach them to become, again, American. Let's go to the next slide. Here's the reservation system and the Indian Wars. We just talked about Americanization. Now we're talking about the reservation system. And the reservation system's pretty easy. They gathered up, U.S. Army troops gathered and pushed the Native Americans into these plots of land that had practically no resources or very little resources, and they corralled them off with fences, and they told them, hey, look, you're going to stay here. Don't move. And so that's what a reservation is. In the state of Florida, we have some reservations. If you go to Miccosukee Casino, if you go to the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, that's an example of an Indian reservation. You might not know it, but that is. All right, so let's look here. Natives were also seen as a burden. They were seen as a weight. So this word right here, very important word. They were seen as a burden, a weight, and therefore placed away from whites. Now, sometimes they talk about two battles. These are the two battles that they talk about. They talk about Wounded Knee, where the Native Americans lost and they were brutally massacred. Women, children, they didn't discriminate. The U.S. Army killed all of them. And then we have the Battle of Little Bighorn. This is actually a great win for the Native Americans when they defeated General Custer. So the Battle of Little Bighorn is the win. And then Wounded Knee is our loss. Pause the video at any time and actually write this down or transcribe this into your notes. And then lastly, we have the Native American conclusion. So the mission was to integrate natives into American life was largely a disaster. Many natives, they sold off their land. They didn't really see the point of having land. In their culture, land was never seen as a possession. It was part of nature, and they roamed North America without any problem. But with the white man, the introduction of the white man, things changed. And so they saw a transformative social structure that valued money and race over all else. Okay, the Dawes Act, where they gave them the 160 acres, you remember that? So Dawes Act, they gave them 160 acres, and they wanted them to be what? They wanted them to be farmers, right? I'm going to put an F here. So they wanted them to be a farmer. Didn't really work out so well. The reservation system, it was a prison. That didn't really work out so well either. And they still have the reservations. And these places in America to this very day are some of the poorest places in all of America. They talk about Chicago and they talk about all these poor cities in America. But if you've ever been to a reservation system, this is big time poor. Very poor. All right. And very few Indians or Native Americans made the transition into being farmers. All right. And so that's the Native American experience. That's kind of what you need to understand when you come up to the test. All right. Have a great day.